Good morning, guys, and welcome. I hope everybody's doing well. If you can hear me loud and clear, give me a thumbs up, please. Fantastic. Okay, once again, thanks for being here. And today is going to be a bit of an interesting one because today we're going to get into the really technical stuff of what you are doing. We're going to get into some coding because it's a topic that I feel is very important for you guys to know and understand. Right. Now, you will have noticed that when you are being taught how to build websites and applications, that there's something that is intrinsically there that sometimes we mention and sometimes we don't, but it's there. And that thing I'm talking about is responsive web design. Now, I want to demonstrate this with a screen share. I want to share my screen with you guys, and I'm going to show you a student's work, right? It's one of you, so if it's yours, well done to you. Are you guys seeing Action Foods, breakfast and lunch? Give me a thumbs up if you are seeing that. Right. Now, if you take, if you look at this website, let's go back to the home page of it, right? I pulled this out of our GitHub. Now, as I drag the edge of the screen, can you see what's happening to the overall layout? The layout is changing. Look at the width of the buttons. The width of the buttons is changing, right? When you go into the page where there's images, as I reduce the size of the screen, you can see the images are going smaller and smaller until when it comes to a certain point, the images suddenly bounce back, and then they still start getting smaller. Now, what exactly is this? This is where the whole topic of responsive web design comes in. This is crucially important, but yet too many people don't understand this even up till today. And I'll give you a good example by sharing my screen again, right? So now I'm going to share an image for you. Let me just start presenting. Right. Let's start again. Share screen. I'm going to share a PowerPoint slideshow. Okay, are you guys seeing in the top left corner, Content Bible? Give me a thumbs up. Fantastic. Right. Now, what you are seeing here, oops, what you are seeing here is a screenshot from my iPad of Microsoft's OneNote application. Now, the OneNote app is a very good and a very powerful app. And what I like about it is that it's cross-platform. So you can get it on Windows machines and on Mac, iPhone, iPad. But there's a serious design flaw with OneNote, as you can see in the screen. Now, I want somebody to put it in the chat. What do you think is the design flaw here of this app? By the way, this is all the webinar topics that we're going to be covering over the next few weeks. No background. Okay. I think that's a personal choice. But what else? I'll give you a clue. The issue is in the left column here. Exactly. So Subhan, tell me, what do you mean exactly not as UI friendly? Anyone? Okay, so let me give you another clue. Fantastic. Right, right. So NK, Mashlase, Subhan, you guys all nailed it. The column is not wide enough. So I can't see the longer topics. So take a look at this one, 070224, a sample pot. Now, there is absolutely no way in this app to actually see that without clicking on that item and opening it up in the main screen. In other words, Microsoft, being such a big company of developers, didn't think to make this column resize itself to fit the text, or at least allow the user to be able to change the width of it at will. So there's no way, even if I go into the app on my iPad, I can't go into this place in between and drag this thing and make it wider or narrower. On one hand, it doesn't do this automatically. And on the other hand, it doesn't allow me to do it manually. And that sucks big time because that makes this app almost, almost unusable in the iPad world, right? So on my iPad, it's almost unusable. But oddly enough, the same clowns who made this made the iPhone version. And now let me show you the iPhone version. This is what happens when developers don't take pride in their work. So take pride in your work. Now I'm going to show you the iPhone version. Now, can you see my screen? Look at the iPhone version, how beautifully it's laid out. Can you see that? Right? You can see all the content is clearly visible. Now, take a look at this. Look how beautifully the text is displayed, and sometimes even with an image thumbnail, right? So they kind of got it right in the iPhone version, and they messed it up in the iPad version. Really, really bad, poor design choice. But what's worse is, even though Microsoft probably has hundreds of coders, if not thousands of coders, nobody is quality checking this. Nobody is checking that this is making the app difficult to use on an iPad because you can't quickly scroll through a number of topics or all of your topics. So you need to keep these in mind. So Sabir has a question. I like this question. Why is it different if it's the same operating system? It's different because the screen sizes are different, not because of the operating system, right? iPad OS and iOS are very similar, but the screen sizes are considerably different. Now, let me show you the Mac version of this app here. I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to start sharing again. Right. Now take a look at this. This is the Mac version. This is the section where I plan my webinars and things. Now look at the Mac version. Look at this column, how beautiful. You can resize it, narrow it, widen it, narrow it, widen it. How beautiful. And then when you push to the left, all the columns get narrowed. How amazing is that? Now, question, why didn't they put that into the iPad version? Answer, I don't know. But that's just how Microsoft operates. They make some good products, but they are not thorough in what they do. So even though the products might be good, there's always one aspect of it that is frustrating to the user and is crap. So Rumesa's question, so how would someone be able to correct it? Easy. On a development side, very easy. Instead of using a fixed width column, This app is probably built with front-end technologies like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. All you need to do is make the columns into a flexible width column. And I'm going to show you some of that now again. Now let's go back to that student's work on screen. And I want you to look at this. How would they fix it? How would Microsoft fix it? Simple. Just as this module 2 student of IT Varsity fixed this. Now look at this. As I'm resizing this, okay, let's go back to the home page of this site. There's your columns here, right? Imagine that these buttons are all your columns. Now, as the screen is changing size, see, iPhone, drag, 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 iPad. Can you see that? iPhone, iPad. See what's happening? Everything is beautifully being redesigned. Again, same story here. Look at the images. Look how it snaps back. Why does it snap back, right? The reason it snaps back is because as the screen size starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller, if the pictures proportionally get smaller and smaller, there'll be a time when the screen is so narrow that the image is just a thumbnail. But what the student did, and because he's been taught to do that, or she's been taught to do that, sorry for the assumption, the gender assumption here. I don't know the name of the student, but now see what happens. As the screen size gets smaller, the images snap back to take more of the screen real estate to give the user a better view of it. But as the screen gets bigger, now if the user, now take a look at this size, right? This is typically an iPad size. If these images were just proportionate to the screen size, it wouldn't look appealing. It would just be too big, too in your face, and you wouldn't be able to see the layout. All you would be able to see is that picture of that bowl of food. It wouldn't look nice. Now this, my dear people, is what proper design is all about. You get that? This is proper design. And you'll be surprised. Rumesa, I hope that answers your question, but we're going to look at some code now. You guys are probably already familiar with this code if you are in module 2 or 3. But basically, that's how it's done. So Keenan nailed it. Add a responsive layout. That is it. Just make the layout responsive and consider different sizes. And most importantly, test it on as many devices as you can. Look, if you make an app that is just for iPhone, that's fine. Test it on iPhones. If it works, it's good. But if you're going to make an app that is cross-platform, Mac, iPhone, iPad, now you've got 2 or 3 different types of iPads. You've got the iPad mini. But then on a single iPad, you've got 2 screen sizes. Take a look. You've got landscape view and you've got portrait view. So these are 2 different screen sizes. It's the same with your iPhone. If you are designing an app for a phone, you need to consider portrait mode. You need to consider landscape mode. You see what I'm saying? So with each device, you need to look at both orientations. And you need to test on as many devices as you can. Now, developing for iOS is easy, right? Because iOS devices are very limited in their sizes. But Android devices, my God, when I was developing for Android, that was an absolute nightmare because you've got a million different screen sizes on Android, everything from 2 inches across your basic entry-level smartphones to your glorious and glamorous Samsung, what's that, Galaxy S20 something, I don't even know what's the latest, is it 22, 23, to your tablets, to your, even, I don't know if you still get this, but you used to get those Android laptops also. So those were a completely different screen size. Right, so Angela says we were introduced to this in module 1, part 1, the superhero app. Great stuff, right? I designed the course, but I forgot a lot of the content. Okay, but yes, you were introduced it to at that point. But like I said, the objective now is to show you why this is so important. Because our course is structured in such a way that every single application you make in all 12 modules are going to be responsive. It's going to become second nature to you. But sometimes that second nature needs to be explicitly explained in terms of why this is so important. Now, I want you guys to do something else. I want you to look at various apps, websites. Just go browse and take note of how responsive these apps and websites are, and make some comments on that, or mental comments. Note whether they are properly responsive or not. So Rumesa says it makes a lot of sense to quality check designs. There is such a large range of device options. Absolutely. Look, you can do this in two ways. You can check in two ways. One is many browsers like Safari, Firefox, Chrome, they have extensions where you can actually resize the window to different, various screen sizes. So use those extensions. In stage one, use those extensions. But when you get into the production environment where you are actually developing, then more often than not, the company will have devices of every size. So one is you test it on your own screen, and the other is you test it on actual devices. That is absolutely necessary to do. Now, I want to show you what I mean. Give me just a second. I'm going to share my screen with you now. Once again. Right. Are you guys seeing Action Foods again? I'm sure you're seeing that, right? Now, I'm going to show you something. Although I was manually resizing the window earlier, but in Safari, okay, no, this is, I'll need to unshare because it's not sharing. I need to share the whole screen, the whole desktop. Right, there we go. Right, now you are seeing the Safari browser, right? Under the Develop tab, and you'll find the same thing on Chrome and Firefox also. Let's look at User Agent. Now, User Agent means what kind of device are we looking at this from? So basically, where's that? I lost it now. There we go. So you can start with different browser sizes, but there is a plugin. Unfortunately, I can't find that plugin on my device right now. But you can actually resize it to different device sizes. But let's see now what this looks like. Now, I've just changed it to Microsoft Edge on a Windows machine. Can you see what's happening here? It looks okay. So it's also great if you're building a website to test it on different browsers, right? So right now I'm simulating Microsoft Edge on a Windows device. Now let's change it to something else, right? User agents, just giving you a sense of this. Let's go to Firefox for Mac OS. And there we go. It looks similar, which is a good thing which means that between one browser and another, the size of the overall look of the page is not changing. Okay, let's go to iPad OS on an Safari on an iPad mini. There we go. Can you see that? There's very little variations in the screen size because, or in the overall look of the screen, which tells you that this student is, this app or this website is designed beautifully, right? And simply that incorporates different browsers and different browser sizes. Okay, let me just get this question and then I'll jump to the next part. I wanted to ask if we are resubmitting an assignment and we just need to add an extra line of code, how do we resubmit without going through the whole GitHub uploading process? Azra, you cannot. You have to upload it back to GitHub. But GitHub is not a schlep because, I mean, in the development world, every change you make to your app needs to be uploaded to GitHub. Why? It's because you have one uniform version of your app. The last thing you want ever, this is an absolute developer nightmare, is to have one version of the app or website on your computer and another one on GitHub. It must never be like that. They need to be a mirror reflection of each other. I've come across situations in my development career where some junior developer didn't upload to GitHub, so made all the changes on their local computer and didn't commit those changes to their local GitHub, to their local Git and to the remote GitHub. And what happened was they closed their computer, they went away. They went away home. And the computer was damaged or stolen. And come next day, all the work was gone. Why? Because you didn't commit. And you didn't update the GitHub remote. So make that a part of your life now. Every small change, right? You even put a single semicolon or a single dot, right? You commit that change. Put a message. Why? What change did you make? Right? Add it, commit it, and at the end of the day, or periodically, depending on how much of work you are doing, push it to the remote server. You have to, right? Sorry to lecture you so much on that, but that is good practice that you guys are learning. There's one last thing I want to show you, and that is some code that I would very much like you to go over now. You're going to cover some of this in later modules, but I want you to study this. So the first thing I need you to study on your own is the flexible grid layout. Now, the flexible grid is a bit tricky, right? Because see, with an image, it's easy to proportionately resize it to the width of the screen. But let's say you got a table. Now with a table, what do? There's only so much that you can narrow each column. You have to come to a point where certain columns will just have to become scrolling, or they have to fall off and maybe go somewhere else. That's when you'll use the flexible grid layout. And as you can see from the CSS, from this HTML and CSS, it's actually quite easy. There's lots of tutorials about it online. So you basically declare your grid class and you set the display type as grid, and then I beg your pardon, you add your columns and the gap. Here we're using one REM as a gap. And then look at how simple your HTML is. Now, why I love this is because when the HTML is that simple, then it'll give you less cross-browser issues. In other words, it won't look bad on different browsers. And then another thing that you guys must learn, you will touch on it, is media queries, right? Now, I can see clearly from that other student's code that I showed you, the student is using media queries, right? So if you want some side reading, Rumesa, why are you scribbling on my screen? So if you want to jump ahead and you want to do some reading over the next few days, weeks, these are the two: grid and media queries. Go and watch some YouTube, get a head start on things. Cool. Right. So NK says the other day I came across 3 different apps. One relied on my hardware. Example, a mobile game, for example, the other a website, and the other app is both a website, but it's also an app. What's the difference? I'm not sure I understand the question. 3 different apps. One's like my hardware, a mobile game, a website, and other app is both a website, but is also an app. Okay. Okay, so what I'm understanding is you are saying that the app and the website are more or less the same, they're identical. Now, if that's what you're saying, then you made a good observation there. Because today, and we're gonna discuss this in the coming weeks, in today's times, there's almost no such thing as a standalone website and a standalone app. Now, let me give you an example. Let's take YouTube, right? YouTube, you've got the website. You can open up YouTube in a browser, and you can open up YouTube on your device as an app. You've got the YouTube app. Now, the YouTube app is little more than just a container where they display the website. So basically, when you open up the YouTube app, all you are doing is you are getting a window into the YouTube website. You get what I'm saying? So it's not a separate entity with its own data, with its own databases and things like that. And how you know this is you watch something on the browser, on YouTube in the browser, and then you close it and you go to your app, you open up your history, you'll see the thing you watched on your browser is there in the app also. And that tells you that you are looking at the same thing from 2 different angles. And I'll explain to you guys how that works. That is extremely beautiful. Mobile games, on the other hand, mobile games are different because mobile operate, live on your device, right? They are not windows into the web version, typically. Now, how do you know this? How do you differentiate between the two? Whatever you can use without a data connection lives on your device. And whatever you can't use without a data connection, that means you just can't go forward with that, doesn't live on your device. So pretty much all your social media, including YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, no data connection, you're going to see nothing, but that's it. On the other hand, if you open up a game, now I've got a game here, for example, this game here, this is quite a famous game. I enjoy playing this game when I need to think. Whether I have a data connection or not, I can still play this game because it lives fully on my device. Now, some apps, in other words, are just a window into the website, and some live locally. Then you've got the others that, what does it mean? Hybrid. We're gonna, you guys are jumping the guns here because this is a beautiful topic. I am gonna discuss this. A hybrid is an app that lives partly on the web and partly on your device. A good example is OneNote, right? Earlier on, we spoke about OneNote. Now, with OneNote, if I have no data connection, I still have access to my notes offline, many of my notes offline. And I can also open the app and make a note there offline. And then when I do go online, then it synchronizes. You got it. So that's, I hope that's an answer to you. Sabira wants to know, can we start using this code now? Absolutely. Go for it. Go for it. Rumesa, mistake. Okay. As long as you didn't draw a clown face on me. Okay, so let's open up for questions before we conclude today's episode. I hope you found today's episode interesting. Tell me what you think about today's webinar. Did you find it interesting? Also, I just want to remind you guys, my podcast comes out on Fridays at 11 o'clock. Please support me. I need my YouTube to grow. I get like 50 views. So quick question. We were all discussing with Noltando last week and had asked about whether or not we would be having a graduation. Could you touch on that, please? Whoa, Rumesa, you are months ahead. Yes, we will be having a graduation. So typically, see, last year we had the end of 2022, we had a major graduation. And that was because the vast majority of our students were in Durban. So we had a physical graduation. This year, we're looking at perhaps doing a virtual graduation because you guys are in every part of the continent. I promise you. So I don't think it'll be possible to get everybody into one place. It's just the way the world is right now. Mohammed Tahir says, looking forward to the podcast. Thanks, Mohammed. I'm looking, well, there are already some episodes there. They're also uploading it onto Buzzsprout. I think you'll find it on Apple Podcasts also, but I don't know. We'll have to just get all that information and I'll share it with you. Subhan says, I don't mind podcasts. Love your YT clips, the YouTube clips. Yeah, we try to put, so what I'm going to do is we're going to take the podcast and get snippets from them, put them onto TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Shorts. So Rumesa, just curious. Yeah, no, it's a pleasure, Rumesa. Any questions you guys have? I hope that Noltando is looking after you guys. And if you have any questions on Slack, you're getting your questions. You're getting the questions answered. Also on the LMS. I hope your WhatsApp group is thriving and you guys are networking with each other. That's the main thing. Keep networking. And if any of you happens to meet a developer or come across any opportunities for entry-level developers, please share it with everyone else. What I'm going to be doing in the next, not the next episode, the one after that is, I'm going to start bringing in at least once a month professional software developers to be my guests on this webinar. I mean, guys that have been doing this for like 15, 20 years. So you guys can ask them all your questions, hammer them with all your questions. That is going to be very intuitive. And then you can ask them questions like what NK asked me, what was it like when you first started to code? NK, you're taking me down somewhere that, that is 30 or 35 years ago, when my dad bought me my Commodore computer. But I'll talk to you guys about that. That was where I started coding, and that was, my God, your cell phone is about 10 million times more powerful than my original computer. And I still own that computer. I still got it. I was looking for it on the shelf here, but it's actually in another room in the office. And there's a little coding tutorial book that I wrote also. That was 10-year-old me writing that. WhatsApp group is very helpful. Great stuff. That is your initiative. And you see, this is what gets you into the industry. Initiative, innovativeness. Go for it. Whatever ways you guys need to communicate, if there's something I can help, start a group. I hope you guys are posting on social media, getting yourself known, getting yourself out there, tagging me so we can share your stuff. Can we use an app or website that we have built to host on the App Store? Yes, you can. Read up the conditions. Each App Store has its own conditions. Read up what the conditions are, and as long as you can meet those conditions, you can post your stuff. You can host it on the App Stores, even monetize on it if you want. Is it possible? Can we see what the work would look like when we start coding in our languages? Like Altando said, we're going to start in module 8. What's it going to look like? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do you mean the front end aspects of it, or you mean what will the lessons look like? So Subhan says, Subhan, how do you know about the Commodore? You're right. It was just a command prompt. There wasn't a visual interface, no point and click, no mouse or anything. Oh, so what languages you'll be learning, what lessons? Okay, I'm going to do one better. I'm going to invite the developers who are actually making that content for you to come and speak to you. How's that? So the Java guy is he owns his own development company, very successful development company. So I'll invite him, even the Python guy. Courses, but with running the business, I don't get a chance to make much coding content anymore. So I'm bringing my colleagues in to help you guys. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. He's an amazing guy. He's an amazing guy. All our instructors telling you guys, we do not have lecturers. Everybody that develops any content for you guys, any course, is a professional developer. Nothing under 5 years of experience. And the Java guy got like 25, Python guy got like 10 years of experience. You guys are gurus. So you guys are in good hands here. You guys are in good hands. Side by side, horizontally, inside a website when coding, what to use? I love that question. The flexible grid layout I spoke about earlier, there's your answer. Make a flexible grid, right? The best thing to do is to put your images into a flexible grid. So when your grid resizes, your images will be maybe 4 up in a row on a big screen, maybe 2 up or even 1 up on a row on a smaller screen. Do something. I don't want to give away too much, but that's where you need to be. Flexible grids. Cool. Can we leave it at that, guys? I get a sense you guys don't want this episode to end. And neither do I, because I enjoy talking to you. But I've got something coming up at 12. Gotta leave. Let's get one last comment or question. It's all mine, Mesa. I once again, I'm grateful to you guys for being here. I'm grateful to you guys for studying with us, and I hope that I sincerely hope that that we are exceeding your expectations, not just meeting, but exceeding your expectations. And I hope that you guys are growing with us in your time you're spending with us. I hope that you are becoming a better version of yourself. So Mohammed Tahir's question. So we're going to get to meet someone who has qualified here. You mean at IT Varsity? Yes, you'll meet some of our graduates also who are doing some big things, working for big companies like Amazon. So they are going to be giving you inspiration. So Keenan says, I think everyone is enjoying code, but we're all too shy and not looking forward to the video presentation. This is why I'm doing it, Keenan. This is why I'm doing it, because as coders, we tend to be shy. We tend to be introverted, right? And I know that because I used to be like that, and you can never tell from the way I speak online. But I need to get you out of that shell. I need to get you uh, to be good communicators. Because for career success, if you're just going to be this shy coder behind the scenes, you're going to be left out of all the promotions. You're going to be left out of all the big conversations. And you're going to just be like this little mole underground that they hand tasks to. So go for it. I'm throwing you into the deep end and I want you to swim. I like the idea, Taib. Send an introduction video to the group and send it to me also. Why leave me out? I want to be part of the group. Okay, guys, really have to get going now. And it's been an absolute pleasure. I will see you guys next week. Subhan, that is my pleasure. It is my pleasure. And it's not just my pleasure, it's my duty to you. Because I always say, and I said this in my TikTok yesterday, you want coding tutorials, freaking go on YouTube. It's free. You're not here at IT Varsity for coding tutorials. For me, IT Varsity is not here to give coding tutorials. IT Varsity is here to mentor you, to guide you, to shape you into a different person. IT Varsity is a place where you come to unlock opportunities for yourself, to learn how to learn how to grow. So what I'm doing here, what my team and I are doing here with the webinars is giving you that mentorship, that place to ask your questions, that place to ask about the things that you don't get to ask on forums or on YouTube comments and things like that. So it's our duty and it's our absolute pleasure. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.